It is very satisfying, I have to say, although it does come with its drawbacks and risks, such as when I cut way too low trying the Footlogix spray on my other hand the other day. But I decided to learn from that experience and try it again on my other hand because it also needed to be shaved, and I had to wait a couple days to do it because I've been so busy with birthdays. While that dried, I sanded my fingers down, the ones I had shaved like a handful of days prior, and they didn't need to be shaved, just sanded a little bit to make the skin a bit lower. And now I just have to do my thumb, pinky, and palm to get this hand down to the level that my other hand was at when I experimented. Now that Footlogix spray, it does an excellent job of softening the callus, better than anything else I have ever tried. Like oils and creams make the hand way too oily, and callus softeners in general, especially the heavy duty ones, make the skin way too soft and goopy to be able to take it off in an even way, like impossible to shave, and scraping, it's just very uneven. So I was really grateful that I found this Footlogix spray. Thank you, Footlogix, because it works great. I know some people say I should soak the skin first and then spray the Footlogix, and while that may be true, it makes shaving difficult. And so this is a perfect happy medium for me, like spraying it on, letting the callus soften all by itself from a hard state, and then coming in with the shaver. And I was trying to be really extra careful this time not to cut myself, going super delicate along the edges, but trigger warning, you will see some blood in a little bit because I did go a little too thin in a couple of places. Look at those satisfying peels. I mean, it really is just sliding off so much easier than if I just go in dry, which I always thought was the best method. So here's to having 20 plus years experience shaving my hands and still learning something new. Every year, every few shaves, I learn something else, like that I can soften the callus a little bit. You'll see I went a little too deep there. And yes, my skin does bleed just like any other skin because this thick callus is just in the epidermis. And if you know anything about skin, there's several layers, and the topmost layer is the stratum corneum in the epidermis, and that is where this callus grows. So I can cut and cut and cut and cut and not get to blood, but if I get below that layer, then sure enough, I'll be cutting down into the lower layers of the epidermis or even into the dermis, which is where the blood is. And so I did get another cut there. Honestly, folks, I can't feel these cuts. I didn't even realize that one was there. I had to go get some toilet paper to clean it up because I saw the red and I was like, oh, I'm bleeding. And you can see it kind of comes and disappears and comes and disappears because I'm blotting it with toilet paper while I'm going along shaving my pinky here. Ultimately, these little cuts, they're not going to hurt. They heal super duper uber fast. And at the end of this video, I'll show you how just like 5 minutes after shaving, they're already done bleeding and they've healed. And they might feel a teeny bit sensitive on that one spot for like 6 hours or something. But just like when you get a tiny scratch on your skin and you didn't even notice you got a scratch and then you realize you're bleeding, and then like once it stops bleeding, you don't even feel it. I mean, that's what these little nicks feel like. I know some people are horrified. 1, 2, 3 cuts on my hands after all, but this is what experimentation is. I would really rather try this on my hands a few times before I tried it on my son's hands. So I'm really glad I did. I had a better technique this time. I got a much more even shave this time than with my left hand. And I think I'm pretty much ready to use this method on my son's hands next time they need to be done, which is very soon. By the way, this is about how much skin comes off of one hand. Ba-boom.